Think about what it actually takes to see a Bugatti Chiron in person. Not a photograph. Not a render. Not a clip from a promotional film where the camera operator had access you never will. The actual car, in front of you, close enough to touch. Most people will go their entire lives without it. You might catch one at a motor show, roped off behind a barrier while a brand ambassador explains why you cannot get any closer. You might spot one crawling through a city center at 30 miles an hour while you scramble for your phone and end up with a blurred shot through someone else's shoulder. That is the closest the average person ever gets. A glimpse. A story to tell later. A photograph you show people who respond with polite interest and move on. FX Alex G just offered something that has never happened before in the history of this car, and will almost certainly never happen again. His Bugatti Chiron Per Sport, the crash-damaged wreck that Mate Rimac publicly stated could not be independently repaired, the car that Matt Armstrong split down the middle and rebuilt in a workshop in Florida, the project that exposed Audi airbags and Volkswagen pumps and Lamborghini fuse boxes living inside a machine sold to the world as the most exclusive hypercar ever constructed, is going onto a trailer tonight. Stripped completely bare. Wide body kit fitted. Being hauled through the streets of Miami by a 6x6 truck. And anyone who shows up to Mary Brickell Village at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time gets to stand next to it. Let that image settle for a moment. A Bugatti Chiron Per Sport, sitting on a public street in Miami. Not at a dealership where the salesperson controls how long you are allowed to look. Not in a manufacturer's showroom where the lighting is engineered to inflate perceived value and the conversation you are permitted to have about it has invisible walls around it. On a street. On a trailer. Stripped to the bone. Visible in every detail that Bugatti has spent years insisting only their trained personnel inside their authorized facilities could ever be trusted to understand. The crash damage that started this entire story. The structure that Bob rebuilt from a destroyed reference car, by hand, without a three-dimensional scan, without Bugatti's proprietary tooling, without anyone from Molscium holding his hand through the process. The systems that Matt Armstrong traced back through the Volkswagen Group parts catalog while Mate Rimac was making public statements insisting that none of what they were doing was appropriate or even possible. Here is why this moment matters beyond the spectacle of it. When Mate Rimac made his public comments about the Chiron rebuild, the central argument was about complexity and exclusivity. The position was that these cars exist at a level of engineering sophistication that places them outside the reach of independent work. That only technicians trained at specific facilities, using specific tools, operating within the official manufacturer network could be trusted to understand what they were touching. That the car needed to stay inside Bugatti's ecosystem not because of commercial interest, but because ordinary people simply could not be expected to handle what was inside it responsibly. FX Alex G is parking it on a street in Miami and inviting the public to walk up to it. That is not recklessness. That is confidence. And it is confidence that has been earned specifically, methodically, and publicly through months of documented work that dismantled every individual claim Bugatti made about why this rebuild was impossible. The airbags that supposedly required factory-level handling turned out to be Audi A3 units, available through standard supply channels, nothing exotic about them. The radiators that supposedly had no independent sourcing solution were fabricated by Bob in a machine shop from first principles. The structural components that supposedly required Bugatti's proprietary expertise and equipment were rebuilt by hand from a destroyed reference piece by someone operating entirely outside the official network. The car that could not be independently repaired is on a trailer tonight because it has been independently repaired. And Matt Armstrong is going to be there. Think about what that pairing means. Matt Armstrong, who is currently in the United Kingdom waiting for Bugatti Manchester to resolve a fuel pump control module issue on his own Veyron. Matt Armstrong, whose £1,100 service bill on that car demolished the £20,000 quote the official network had presented as the baseline for the work. Matt Armstrong, who traced a fault back to a £5 fuse available at Halford's, a fault that Bugatti's official repair and diagnostic pricing structure would have turned into a bill worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. That Matt Armstrong, standing in Miami next to a stripped Bugatti Chiron Per Sport that the manufacturer's CEO said could not be put back together outside their own facilities. Consider what that image represents, specifically to Mate Rimac. Two people who, between them and with documented evidence at every stage, have made the public case that the exclusivity argument underpinning Bugatti's entire parts and service policy is built on a version of these cars that simply does not reflect what is actually inside them. Standing next to the most tangible proof of that argument that has ever existed, surrounded by the community that followed every step of how they got there. This is not a car event. This is a statement. The meet is tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Mary Brickell Village, 911 South Miami Avenue. For everyone in the UK watching this, that is 2:30 in the morning. Yes, that time is correct. And yes, that is the level of investment this build has generated in the people who have followed it from the beginning. Alex has been clear about one thing above everything else. This is the only opportunity. Once the Chiron is completed, it is done. The wide-body kit goes on permanently. The stripped-down state that makes the car into a physical record of every decision made during the rebuild, every panel Bob fabricated, every component the official network said could not be independently sourced that turned out to be perfectly sourceable, that state disappears the moment the build is finished. You will never see this car like this again, because there will never be a reason to put it back in this condition. Tonight is the only window that will ever exist. There is also an announcement coming. Alex has not disclosed what it is. But in the context of a rebuild that has already generated more genuine automotive revelation than most manufacturers produce in an entire product cycle, an announcement landing at the same event where Matt Armstrong is present and the car is being shown publicly for the last time in this state carries real weight. This is not routine content scheduling. Something significant enough that Alex wanted the community physically present when it dropped is going to be revealed tonight in Miami. The people who show up at Mary Brickell Village are going to be there for it in person. The people watching from the UK at 2:30 a.m. are going to be part of the same moment as it happens. And the people who watch the documentation afterward are going to be watching the point at which this rebuild stopped being a garage project and became something the public could reach out and touch. The moment it crossed from private achievement into shared evidence. Mate Rimac said it could not be done. The complexity was too great. The systems too proprietary. The engineering too far beyond what anyone outside the official network could responsibly attempt. Alex and Matt did it anyway, and they documented every step of why the argument against it was wrong, and tonight anyone who wants to can drive to South Miami Avenue and put their hands on the proof.
At 9:30 p.m. EST, I will be there with the Bugatti, with the wide body kit on the trailer being pulled by my 6x6. What a mission. But if I have to bust this mission for all of you guys that have been following the build, get to see this in person, I will do this. You guys have been the backbone of this build, have helped us, motivated us, and honestly, I've shown so much love. So I will be there tonight to showcase this Bugatti to you guys once and for all before it gets completed, because once it's done, it's done. When will we ever get another opportunity to see a Bugatti stripped down to the bone like this one is? So I'll see you guys there tonight. Be on time. I'm gonna try and make things as smooth as possible, but we're working logistics out right now.